All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. And as we are in the midst of the holiday season, I want to take this time out to wish everybody all of the best for the upcoming year of 2026. And speaking of the fact that 2025 is winding down, so is the National Football League season as we are here in week number 17. Of course, things got started yesterday on Christmas Day. I went 2 out of 3 of my games. I took the Cowboys over the Commanders. I took the Broncos over the Chiefs, and I took the Lions over the Vikings. However, kudos to that Vikings defense and D coordinator, Brian Flores. But with that said, we've got some good games, 2 good games on tap for tomorrow, as well as a slate of games on Sunday, along with the Monday night affair. With that said, here are the remainder of my picks for week number 17 in this NFL season. Now, tomorrow afternoon, we've got the 10-5 Houston Texans traveling to Inglewood to take on the 11-4 Los Angeles Chargers. 2 teams that are more than likely going to be wildcard teams heading into the postseason, but nonetheless, 2 teams that can do a lot of damage. You look at this Texans defense, they have been lights out all season long. And this offense with quarterback CJ Stroud is starting to come around. For the Chargers, one thing you could say, Jim Harbaugh is leaving his impact on this team because there's a lot of toughness and there's a lot of grit coming from the Chargers. And I think it starts with their quarterback, Justin Herbert, who is playing through a hand injury on his left hand. The Lightning Bolts come into this game favored by 1.5. I think this is going to be a phenomenal battle. 2 good teams that could do some damage next month in the postseason. But I'm going to take the Chargers at home by the score of 22-20. Now, the other game tomorrow, we've got the 7-8 Baltimore Ravens traveling to Lambeau to take on the 9-5-1 Green Bay Packers. And for Baltimore, their playoff hopes are hanging by a thread, okay? Because if the Ravens lose this game, they're done. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They would be eliminated, and of course, that would mean that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be your champions of the AFC North. And for Baltimore to do it, looks like they're going to have to do it without Lamar Jackson at quarterback. And what we've seen over the years is when number 8 is not under center for the Ravens, usually bad things happen. On the flip side, for Green Bay, they're going to be without their starting quarterback in Jordan Love, who was injured, went out with a concussion last week in the loss over against the Chicago Bears. And for Green Bay, they've got to find a way to put that contest behind them because that was a huge meltdown late. The Packers could not salt that game away against the Bears, and of course, they paid for it. It's going to be Malik Willis at quarterback for the Pack. He's had plenty of reps, or he's had some reps this season. He had some reps last year for an injured Love, and I think that is going to be the difference in this one. 34 degrees at kickoff. The Packers are 3.5-point favorites at home. I like them by a touchdown, 27-20. Now, moving on to Sunday, we've got 2 teams that are trying to finish on a positive note. We got the 5-10 Cincinnati Bengals hosting the 3-12 Arizona Cardinals. And you could make the case that we just saw Cincinnati play their most complete game of the year last week in the victory over the Miami Dolphins. The Bengals come into this game favored by 7 points. Joe Burrow and company, like I said, they're looking to finish on a positive note. I think Cincinnati takes care of their business in this one by the score of 30-20. Now, moving along, we've got the 9-6 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to take on their oldest and biggest rival in the AFC North and the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers come into this contest favored by 3 points, and this is a very interesting game here because if Baltimore loses on Saturday night, Pittsburgh would have wrapped up the AFC North, and you got to wonder, would the Steelers pull some of their starters during this game? Because for what it's worth, Pittsburgh's all but going to be locked into that 4 spot. So, with that said, would Pittsburgh want to give their guys some rest? They're definitely going to give their guys some rest next Sunday if they clinch. However, if Baltimore wins Saturday night, Pittsburgh can still win this division, but they got to go out there and beat the Cleveland Browns. We saw the Browns as heavy underdogs at home last Sunday against the Bills. And like I said, that game was going to be closer than expected. This time around, um, Pittsburgh is only a 3-point favorite over Cleveland. One thing for sure, this Greg Williams coached up defense for the Browns, they're definitely going to try to go out there and keep it close. And speaking of defenses, what can the Steelers do against Browns rookie quarterback Shador Sanders? I'll tell you like this. After last Sunday's win for Pittsburgh, because this was a team that was written off a couple of weeks ago following their loss at home to Buffalo, they have rallied, okay, and they have rallied around Mike Tomlin, and they keep finding ways to win games. I think that trend continues. Pittsburgh is starting to get it going at the right time, and it's one of those things. In a wide open AFC, nobody's talking about the Steelers that much heading into the postseason, but I like them in this game. 26-20. Now we've got the 5-10 New Orleans Saints traveling to take on the 3-12 Tennessee Titans. And of course, both of these teams, they started off slow. They've picked it up here in the second half of the season, and they want to keep that momentum going. New Orleans has won their last three. They have the rookie Tyler Shaw at quarterback. And for head coach Kellen Moore, he believes in his young guy. And then what can you say about the Saints defense? The Saints defense has kept this team in almost every single game this season. Two good defenses right here. I think they're a little underrated. Tennessee's defense, I think, what are they going to do against a rookie quarterback in Tyler Shaw? And what are the Saints going to be able to show Cam Ward, who has been playing better football over the second half of the season since Mike McCoy took over? The Saints are 2.5-point favorites on the road. I think this is going to be a very close game, but I still like New Orleans 20-19. So we've got the 11-4 Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to take on the 8-7 Indianapolis Colts. And a lot of people's playoff hopes hinge on this game because a loss here by the Colts clearly would end their season. However, if the Texans win in LA on Saturday night, it's all over for the Colts anyway. Jacksonville is looking an inch closer to wrapping up the AFC South. And I'll tell you right now, this team is believing. We saw Jacksonville go on the road, get that big dominating win over Denver last Sunday. And what can you say about the way the quarterback Trevor Lawrence is playing right now? Of course, for the Colts, it's unfortunate all of the issues at quarterback that they've had to go and get a guy like Phillip Rivers, who still has the mind to get it done, but he doesn't necessarily have the tools to get it done. Jacksonville comes in favored by 5.5. I like them by 11 in this one, 31-20. So we've got the 7-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who still control their own destiny, believe it or not, to get to the playoffs, traveling to take on the 6-9 Miami Dolphins. The Bucs come into this game favored by 6. Another golden opportunity slipped through their hands as they fell on the road last Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. You got to wonder at some point whether or not the light is going to go on for the Bucs, because I know, to quote a Hall of Fame coach like Bill Parcells, you are what your record says that you are. But the Bucs, even with the injuries that they've had throughout this year, are still more talented than what their record says. The bottom line is Tampa needs to go out there with a mentality and say, hey, we have got to take care of our business. Get the ball to Bucky Irving. Get the ball to Rashad White. You have Chris Godwin. You have Emeka Egbuka. You have Mike Evans at wide receiver. You've got Baker Mayfield at quarterback. You have the likes of Antoine Winfield Jr. on this defense. And speaking of this Bucs defense, they're going up against a rookie quarterback in Quinn Ewers, who is just making his second career start in the NFL. Like I said, the Bucs are favored by 6 points on the road. I like them by 11, 31-20. Now at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, we've got the 12-3 New England Patriots traveling to take on the 3-12 New York Jets. And of course, if you're the Jets, just when you thought you were getting back on track against the Patriots, here comes Mike Vrabel and here comes Drake May. And it looks like the Jets are going to have to deal with this combination for the next 10 years. The Pats come into this game favored big, 13.5 points. They've got some injuries that they're dealing with, but nonetheless, New England knows a win here, along with the Buffalo loss, could wrap up the AFC East for them. What can you say about Drake May? This young man is growing up at quarterback right before our very eyes. And one thing that I want to look at is this Patriots defense, even with some injuries, going up against the rookie quarterback Brady Cook for the New York Jets. And if you're a fan of the Jets, it's a recipe for disaster. Like I said, New England's a 13.5 point favorite. I think they're going to double up the Jets in this one, 34-17. Now, a battle of division winners as we got the 12-3 Seattle Seahawks making the trip cross country to Charlotte to take on the 8-7 NFC South leading Carolina Panthers. We saw Seattle get that epic comeback win last Thursday night at home over the Rams. And of course, they've had a few extra days to digest that. But if you're Seattle, you cannot let your foot off the gas because the Rams and 49ers are both breathing down your throats in for not only the top spot in the NFC West, but also right now the top spot in the NFC. And of course, it's a big difference. If the Seahawks don't win this division, they drop to the 5 seed. Okay, whereas if they win it, they probably get home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. So there's a lot on the line there. If you are Carolina, you just had yourself one of your biggest wins in the last couple of years as you beat the Bucks at home, and now Carolina controls their own destiny to win the NFC South. Like Seattle comes into this game favored by 7 points at home, but I tell you like this: they need to try to avoid the same trap that we saw the Rams fall into a couple of weeks ago against the Panthers. First things first, the Seahawks defense has to find a way to slow down Rico Dowdell at running back and try to make this Carolina offense one-dimensional and have the youngster at quarterback, Bryce Young, try to beat you. Teteroa McMillan, the phenomenal rookie wide receiver out of the University of Arizona, going up against the Seahawks secondary. Can he make some big-time plays for them? And can this Carolina defense force Sam Darnold to make some turnovers? These are things that we have to watch in this game. I think Bank of America Stadium is going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. Biggest game that the Panthers have had since last week. But nonetheless, I think this is going to be a back and forth affair. But I still like the Seahawks on the road, 27-24. So in a game that has to be played, okay, we have the 2-13 New York Football Giants traveling to the desert to take on the 2-13 Las Vegas Raiders. Both of these teams are part of that tie for the worst record in the National Football League this season. And of course, the loser could be the ultimate winner, as they would have the inside track to getting the first overall pick in April's NFL draft. So the Raiders look like they're doing their part. No Brock Bowers, a tight end in this game, and they've shut down Max Crosby for the rest of the season. The Giants, they keep finding ways to lose games. We saw it wasn't pretty last week at home against the Minnesota Vikings. And believe it or not, the Giants are trying to win their first road game in more than a calendar year. You've got to go back to the beginning of October in last season when the Giants went on the road and knocked off the Seattle Seahawks. The Raiders are trying to mail it in. The Giants have not played great all season long either. Somebody's got to go out there and win this game. But I'm going to give the edge to the Giants, who are actually favored in this game. Okay, but I like New York 24-20. Now, a big interconference matchup on Sundays. We've got the 10-5 Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Western New York to take on the 11-5 Buffalo Bills. And we have to appreciate this game, folks. Two good teams, but also two good teams playing outdoors in bad weather. And this is what this time of the year in the National Football League should be about. For the Eagles, it looks like they've gotten their sea legs. Okay, they've won their last couple of games. They're starting to get it going again. And I think as the Eagles get it going, it starts with number 26 at running back, Saquon Barkley. He's the bread and butter for this team. Defensively for the Eagles, can they find a way to slow down the human bulldozer at quarterback for Buffalo in Josh Allen? That's going to be key right there. I look at this game, two phenomenal offenses. I think it's going to come down to which defense is able to make the stops and which defense is going to make the opposing offense have to settle for field goals. Buffalo comes into this contest favored by 1.5 at home. I like Philadelphia by 2, 29-27. Then on Sunday night, we've got a pair of 11-4 teams in the Chicago Bears traveling to Santa Clara to take on the San Francisco 49ers. The Bears are looking to wrap up the NFC North, while the Niners are looking to keep the pressure on Seattle and the Rams in the NFC West. Both of these teams have the potential to make runs in the playoffs next month. We could also possibly see both of these teams meet next month in the postseason. And if you're the Bears, you just keep finding ways to win games. A lot of these games that the Bears are winning right now, they found ways to lose last year. That's a credit to their first-year head coach in Ben Johnson. I look at this Niners defense. They don't have the big names, okay, on that D-line. But with Robert Saleh coaching them up, they can create a pass rush. But can they get to Caleb Williams? We've seen people put pressure on Caleb Williams, but they haven't always been able to sack him. That's going to be key right there. This Bears defense going up against Brock Purdy, and more importantly, they've got to find a way to neutralize Christian McCaffrey, because all eyes have to be on Christian McCaffrey. But if you focus on him too much, you've got George Kittle at tight end. You've got a Jawan Jennings at wide receiver. You have Ricky Pearsall at wide receiver as well. This Brock Purdy's playing some good football right now as well. Okay, and people ain't talking about it. San Francisco comes in favored by 3. I like the Niners by 3 in this game, 27-24. And finally, on Monday night, we've got the 11-4 Los Angeles Rams traveling to take on the 6-9 Atlanta Falcons. And of course, the Rams are looking to get back on track after they let one slip through their grasp last Thursday night on the road in Seattle against the Seahawks. And of course, like I said before, the Rams want to keep up with the Joneses in the NFC West with both Seattle and San Francisco. This is a win-win scenario for the Rams because A, they're looking to get back on track, and B, they have Atlanta's first-round pick. So of course, a loss here by the Falcons would benefit the Rams, while of course the Rams are looking to better their playoff situation right now. I think the Rams are going to be out for blood after they let one slip through their hands against Seattle. And I think the Rams take care of their business going away on Monday night by the score of 30-19. So, folks, those are my picks for week number 17 in this National Football League season. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. Until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.